How we doing, brother?
Jojo, I'm good, man.
Good.
Yeah, life is good. The weather's changing. It's getting a little chilly. Not too chilly.
No, don't say that yet. I'm not ready
Okay,
for fall.
right,
We're in
right,
the
right.
midst of summer. We're not even through the dog days of August
You're right.
yet.
We're going to have the, what do they call it, Indian summer, where it's real warm, and you'll have that week or two. But the kids are getting ready for school. It's happening. So I saw something you posted.
Yeah.
Joe posts every once in a while.
I used to post a lot more. Now it's sporadic.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's quality versus quantity.
There you go.
Right. So it was a great post, and I wanted to chit-chat about it with regards to, well, I want to talk about generations. You know, the greatest generation, folks born in 1901 to 1920, they say. They already have the designation, greatest generation.
Yeah. Lucky them that they got a cool name like
they
the
got
greatest.
a cool name. Although there's the boomers, then the Gen Xers, then the millennials, then the Gen Zs. I do not like the new title for the new group. It's too... I think you have to earn that title. You shouldn't just be given it. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Absolutely.
Alpha.
The alphas.
That. I mean, you think of the alpha, you think of the strongest and the best. So I'm not sure. We'll see what those kids are like. But you posted something the other day.
Yeah.
With regards to, and it made me think, and I want to have a conversation about it. Kid saved up his money, bought an ice cream cone. After 5 licks, the ice cream cone goes to the ground,
Yep.
and his father said, too bad.
Sorry.
Sorry. What are your thoughts on that type of lesson, I guess we should say? What is the lesson that the kid's going to learn, and would you do that?
Okay, so you know your kid best. Parents always do.
Right.
So they know that if you're going to make some kind of hard stand, it has to give you some value, right? Because if there's some pain on it, but if that kid's going to really learn and really buckle down and that's going to motivate and inspire and ready to go, right? Then that is a really good play.
Okay.
For most kids, right, if they get the wind taken out of their sails, it sort of limits the next time on trying real hard because then they're a little jaded about the whole process. But
Okay.
I think in this case, I think a lot of parents were cheering it on, saying, yeah, it's about time parents grew a spine and stuck through the principles if it is effective.
Okay, yeah, that's the thing. It has to be effective.
Yep.
So my take on that is you want to teach life lessons. You know what I mean? You want to raise your kids right and let them do their thing. My kids are 20, 18, and 16 now. So, you know, my ex-wife and I, we've raised them. We've given them the morals and the character and the values and things they need. Now it's up to them to use that stuff. But the ice cream thing, see, here's my thought. If the kid was jacking around, being a little dork, and dicking around and blah, 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 and boom, it fell. Like Eddie Murphy, you dropped your ice cream, you know what I mean? Because the kid was...
You ain't get none.
You dropped your ice cream. You didn't get none. Oh, he goes in that. The Eddie Murphy Delirious, if you've never seen it, watch
The
it.
best.
It is, that ice cream skit is... So I agree. If the kid was dicking around and dropped it, life lesson. I think the life lesson in this situation would be if the kid really saved his money, worked hard, bought the ice cream, and then accidentally, now again, accidents happen, but I think the lesson could be there are people out there who are willing to pick you up if you fall down. So as a parent, I felt if I bought the kid a new ice cream cone, it wouldn't be me breaking, it wouldn't be me not teaching him a lesson. The lesson I would be teaching him is there are good people in this world, and if you fail or fall down, someone, if you have a tight-knit crew, will be there to pick you up. So that's what I would buy the kid a new ice cream cone, unless he was dicking around and being a little dork. So I think we could teach a lesson with regards to kids saying, wow, if I do try something and fail, someone will be there to support me. And I think that's what kids kind of need. I agree we have to watch how much we cater to them. Like even the new grading scale, I think is ridiculous. If it's a true grading scale.
It's not. It was definitely
that was
satire.
a joke. Oh,
absolutely.
Those of you
satire.
who don't know, Joe posted something about with regards to the grading scale going. It used to be when I was a kid, and I think when you were a kid. Gen Xers, by the way.
Yeah.
The coolest generation. I can't say greatest because we're not born in 1901.
Well, we're the greatest
Oh,
generation.
okay, yeah. The best.
The bestest.
The grading scale was 90 to 100 was an A, 80 to 90 was a B. So if you pulled that 81%, it was a B. I think now it is a C, right?
Mine was 92 to 100.
See, I wasn't there. I was before that.
And then 86 to 92. So, yeah.
Mine was old school. It was by tens.
Okay.
Divisible by tens. It was easy. So 90 to 100, 80 to 90, 70 to 80 was still a C back in the day. So I was a B student. Couple A's here and there. 1 or 2 D's here and there in math. I'm horrible math. Thing is fastest finger counter in the West.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well, back to the original. I got one more
yep,
thing to
go
say about
back
the
to
ice cream.
The ice cream. Yep,
dude.
the life lesson.
So, like, if you're a parent and you, like, in my case, like, I've been teaching natural consequences to my kid since he was 2 years old.
Okay.
Okay. And in order to.
So natural consequence. Explain it. I mean,
Okay,
I get it, but
so you punch somebody in the face, and the natural consequence is you get punched back.
Okay.
So when you complain to me that you got punched in the face, we reverse engineer it to find what bought you the punch in the
Right.
face.
Someone
And we're like,
just-
oh, that was a natural consequence.
Okay.
So you're dicking around and you drop the ice cream
Right.
cone. Then there's a life lesson in it that you don't shield people from the natural consequence because that's all you're going to get when you're
correct.
an adult.
I agree with that.
Okay. Now there's a difference. You said that you want to, buy the ice cream cone and say that I'm supporting you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not rescuing you from the natural consequence. Because in life, nobody's
Okay.
going to come there and say, "Oh, you did that thing. Let me stand. I'll take the consequences for you. So the next time you do it, you're going to make the same mistake."
Okay.
So in our family, when something happens, I do not shield my kid from the natural consequence. I want it to flow over him. Right? But he's now smart enough to recognize that as soon as he acknowledges that he earned the bad thing, now I'm free to go in there and support him as he, buys himself back from the natural consequence.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, that's good. That's a good way of parenting. Everyone has their own way,
For sure. And what's effective is
right?
the
What's
most
effective
important.
and what works. What also it works for one kid doesn't work for another. I always say with my kids, they do good, I'll praise them. They do bad, I'll reprimand them. Period. But how you praise and how you reprimand shifts from kid to kid because personalities shift. So if I reward my daughter Angeli or Natalie with something over here because I know they'll like it, I can't give the same reward necessarily to my son Ben over here because he's not going to like it as
Right.
much. So different personality styles. I did a gig the other day in Irwin, PA. Great client, great gig. It was a lot of fun. It was a big event center. And the cool thing about it was one of the gals who hired me said, you got to check out the ballroom because the ballroom of the event center was an old skating rink. And you could almost see where the rink was and where the dude stood up there and played the records. Have you been skating lately? Like
yeah.
like today's kids versus yesterday's kids? What do we have now that we didn't have then, and what did we have then that they don't have now? So I can think of roller rinks, right? Did you go when you were young? Friday night?
No,
all skate?
I had a paper route for the sole
paper
purpose.
route, okay.
Sole purpose of having enough money to go to the skating rink on Sundays because I had to pay for all my own stuff.
Sunday was the
right?
day?
And there was so much exercise and socializing that happened here. It was my Super Bowl every week. I look forward to roller skating every week.
And you worked to get there.
Work to get there.
I like that. So you did two things that were old school. Paper route, unheard of nowadays. I don't even
Right.
think kids know what a paper is, let alone a paper route or route. Do you say route or route?
Route.
Route, me too. Paper routes. So my brothers had one. I helped them. We did, Sunday paper. I could still go down some of the old streets and go mailbox, front door, under the mat, front door, mailbox.
Isn't that
mailbox,
weird how
mailbox,
you
front
look at
door, under the
houses and
mat.
picture the people behind those houses?
Yep.
at the time?
And you used to have to go collect. Remember, it's time to go collecting. So you have to go collect, and the people would pay you the money, which was crazy because they're giving 12-year-old kids, cash, which
Bags of
wasn't a
money.
ton, but paper routes, skating rinks. There are still a few. I think Youngstown Skate has one. What else did we have?
Yeah, I still
that
go,
they
by the way,
didn't?
skating.
Oh, do you?
Anytime
Okay.
my kid has like a skating party or whatever, I'm all in, man.
Cool.
I'm hitting that rink.
There was that place in Austin town that had the skating rink, the indoor gym, and the laser tag in the back. I forget what it was called. Not AutoZone. Something on Mahoning Avenue.
Skate zone.
Skate Zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not existent anymore. I don't think that.
I think it's still there.
Oh, it's still
Yeah,
there?
Yeah.
Still kicking?
Yeah.
Went to a few birthday
top of the
parties there.
strip in Niles is where I first started skating.
Top of the strip.
In
See,
1984, it got hit by a tornado and it disappeared.
Oh my goodness.
And so then we started going to the Austintown skating ring, the one we're just talking about. And now I usually hit the.
Youngstown Skate, which
Yeah.
is the old Skate Connection.
Yep.
Which is by the old. What was the place where you'd play racquetball? There's a bar there, I think. Now.
What was it? I have no idea.
Oh my gosh, what was the club? The racket club. There was a swimming pool in there. Oh man, I can't think of it now. Okay, so what else? What about ice skating?
I was never really good at it. I've gone maybe a handful of times, and I just get by on ice skating.
Southern Park Mall has that new area outside where they do an ice rink. They put the ice down. Mill Creek Park used to have it. Rocky Ridge, remember you could ice skating?
I've been. I think they still do it.
I hope they do because that was awesome. You go, ice skate and have a cup of hot chocolate. The fire was there. We used to go on Lake Newport when I was a kid. I mean, this was not even a rink. They would fence off a part of the lake, which probably is not safe. But I remember my buddy Bob Murphy and his mom taking me down there numerous times to go ice skating on the lake.
Can you listen? We did so much unsafe shit when we were kids.
Right.
I cannot believe we are all alive. I really don't.
Sometimes I'll see those pictures on Facebook. Like if you are a kid of this era, you survived the thing you'd push around on the playground, that metal thing, whatever.
Yeah.
Kids would be flying around.
Oh, so
the
dangerous.
Seesaws, the things we had. Our jungle gym was just that metal thing that came up. It looked like a dome, looked like a biosphere.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But I spent all my childhood in the woods, riding dirt bikes and regular bicycles over hills and off of cliffs and riding them off of a cliff into the water. Like, I'm thinking, man, what was the potential risk meter look like when I was a kid, and on how many more injuries I should have had and been dead now.
How about neighborhood games? I was thinking about that the other day. So, Kick the Can is
Every
a game that we played every night in our neighborhood. All the kids would converge on someone's house, and we'd make the teams, and literally you'd run around like a maniac. If you've never played Kick the Can, Google it, look it up, and
let's describe
your
it
kids
because
play it. Okay.
It really, I mean, when we articulate it, it's going to sound like it's no fun, but I assure you, it was the pinnacle of the summer.
Okay, so here's how we played. Team A, Team B. Someone has to be it. So this person...
Not it.
Actually, yeah, right. That was good.
That's how you did it.
Right. It wasn't teams. I take it back. It was one person was it. Everyone scatters.
Yes.
So there were two ways you could find someone, but you had to tag them. We played you had to tag them because you could see someone from 50 yards away hiding behind a tree. That's not fair. Caught you. So you tag someone. They would come to base. So base is here, and there's a can there. Literally a can with little pebbles in it, little rocks, an old beer can from Dad's house or whatever. You know what I mean? And once you were on base, you were stuck, okay? And then the person who was it would go out and find other people. But at any point, if the person who was looking for others was over here and someone snuck around over here, they could kick the can and it would release all the people on base. Is that correct? That's
Absolutely.
how we played. Okay.
And the couple factors are we played it at night after the sun went down.
Yep, right,
so
right,
it was very dark.
Right.
And you had stipulations of where you could go and where you couldn't go. So
you couldn't go too far.
Yeah.
And you couldn't guard base. Sometimes the kid who was it would like to guard base and not go too far and try to catch the person coming to kick the can. But you had it. You had to go out and search for other people.
And you would definitely piss off all the neighbors as you're slinking around in their backyards.
Through their backyard, right. Nowadays with the Ring video systems and all that stuff,
Can you
people's
imagine?
beep, beep,
Cops
beep,
would be
beep.
called every other minute.
Kick the can. I'm telling you, if you want to relive your youth or get your kids to do something cool this summer.
Could we
'cause
get
it
an
is still
adult
summer.
session
boy.
together?
Probably, because they do adult stuff now. There's adult kickball leagues, and that was always a kid game back on the
Yeah.
playground. So, Joe, maybe it's something
Put
you want
together
to
a kick the can?
Put
Yeah.
together.
Right.
Any other games we played when we were younger that were non-existent or that are non-existent?
Well, wiffle ball. I don't see the
Wiffle
kids
ball.
back there. We built a whole field in our backyards.
Right,
and,
didn't need to go to a regular field. Just
put the lines down, pitchers bound, and whatever. Home run
wiffle
line.
ball was good. Kick the can was great. We did used to play a lot in the woods. We used to play war and hide around.
Now, did your woods have like a KKK group or a Satanist that sacrificed things?
No. I was
no
lucky.
lore about
Nope,
your woods.
Nope. We went to Lynn Park. So I
Okay.
grew up in Brownlee Woods, Youngstown area. Lynn Park was our go-to park. There was a little stream. You'd see the same kind of kids down there, and it was different. There wasn't like a lot of bullying. It wasn't this gang versus this gang when I was young.
Well, the older kids would always jack with the younger kids, and they would make up things to scare us or whatever, and just basically torture us for our entire childhood. I remember the first time I was super young, and I think Pitfall came out on the Atari.
Oh, Pitfall!
Yeah,
I remember
it's
that
got to
game.
be early
Right.
80s then, right? So I was
Guy
probably
jump with
8
the
years
alligator, the 3 alligators.
Yeah. And so they were having a Pitfall tournament where all the kids were playing and they were seeing how many points they can get.
Okay.
And I never played Pitfall. We didn't have Atari, but the one kid did, so it got into Pitfall. I was like, how do you play? How do you score these points? And the one kid said, all you got to do is walk up to the logs and kneel on them as long as you can. And now if you kneel on the logs, you actually reduce your points. And that was the first time the neighborhood kids ruined it for me because it was the first time they let me play, and my score was in the negative numbers. Jerks. I never forget that trauma.
Pitfall. God, there weren't too many games I was good at with Atari. Space Invaders, Asteroids. That was the only video console we ever had in my house was Atari. That was it.
Now, what was the first movie that you watched as a young kid that you knew that you shouldn't be watching?
Jaws. Well, here's the thing. It wasn't bad because my buddy Bob Murphy's parents were there, but I remember watching Jaws. I think it came out in 1974, 72. I was born in 72, so it came out in 74, 76. I don't know. When did Jaws come out? I want to fact check it now.
And so why did you think you shouldn't have been watching it?
When did Jaws come out? I don't know. 1975. So
Okay.
we didn't watch it when it first came out. I was probably 5 or 6. But I remember turning Bob Murphy, my best friend, since we were in kindergarten. So let's talk about that, too, in a moment. People that you've really had in your life for a long time. I bit him. I literally turned to him and bit him on his arm. I was so scared. So that was not a movie I shouldn't be watching because his parents were there. I don't even know if it was R-rated or not. Was there any boob in that?
I think a little bit. I
Little
think
bit
there's
of
some
boob,
beach
little
scenes.
side
Maybe.
boob.
I don't know. Maybe violence.
Boy,
I don't know.
Violence, yeah. I cannot think of. Do you have the movie in your mind that you watched
Well,
and shouldn't have been
Poltergeist
watching?
was the first one that
Okay.
I was
Scary
above.
movie?
Oh yeah, it was above. I didn't have nightmares about it, but I
Caroline.
felt a little different about the world after that.
Didn't
movie.
watch TV for a while.
Yeah, the little fuzzies on the
I'm not
screen
getting
coming out.
sucked into that son of a
Caroline!
I did. The movies were different back then. I did hear, my philosophy on remakes. I do not like them. But I'm pleasantly surprised every once in a while. Wonka surprised me. It wasn't a remake. It was the prelude, if you will.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice is coming out. A new Beetlejuice.
excited
Did
about
you hear?
that one?
I kind of am because I like Michael Keaton. It's been how many years in between? It's not like it's. I don't even know if it's part 2. Is it? Or is it?
I don't know. That's
her
a good
kids. I
question.
don't even know if Winona Ryder's in it. I'm not sure who's in it, but Beetlejuice is coming back out.
Well, here's a show that I have these shows that I watch that reveal some of my characters. So at the time I was watching Breaking Bad, which is a meth dealer.
Oh, right.
The zombies of The Walking Dead.
Okay.
And then Dexter, who was a serial
Dexter's
killer.
awesome. That
And
was great.
you see
Well
Dexter's
done.
coming out with
No.
2 new ones. Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
That was to me a really well done show.
I agree.
I mean, it was you're rooting for him because he's the bad guy, but he's a good guy.
We love vigilantes. We really do.
Right. We want someone to beat up that bully, beat up that bad
Yeah.
person, and he wasn't beating them up; he was murdering them.
Yeah.
But Dexter was well done.
But if
part
you watch
2,
the
is it
end
stay-
of it-
same character,
Same character.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, spoiler, if you haven't watched any of it, don't listen to what I'm about to say.
Right.
But in the final episode, he was shot by
Right.
his son.
Right.
And you thought, game over.
Is that when he's on the
Dexter's
boat?
Done.
Did he die on the boat? No.
No.
Something on the boat.
So that was the first one where
Okay.
he sailed off
Right,
into the
right,
sunset,
right.
thinking lost
And then
at
he
sea
came
kind
back
of
and he was working at some.
with his kid,
Right.
and then his kid shot him.
Right,
Right?
right.
And so you thought he was dead. Well, he shot him, but he didn't die.
Okay.
And so how the next one is the afterlife about when he was dead and getting right back into the action again. And then I think they have a second one that's coming out in September of next year maybe that was the before. How
Oh, how he
Harry
became?
Yeah. So there's 2
Well, that would be interesting
2 Dexters
because
coming out.
the dude, I like him. I don't know what the actor's name is. I forget. Is it three name guy? He was in 6 Feet Under,
Yeah, I'm trying to think of his name
right?
too.
I can't think of it. Okay.
So yeah, and so I felt really bad about myself because I was so attracted to the things that I wasn't. I can't kill anybody. I like
Mm-hmm.
people too much. I think I'd do well in the zombie apocalypse. So it's kind of like living vicariously, see what I would do different.
I
Learned a
think
lot.
if there's a zombie apocalypse, I'm coming to your house because I
Okay.
feel like you have a game plan.
Now, do you think if there was a zombie apocalypse that they would be fast zombies like in Z, or do you think they'd be slow zombies?
I would hope they'd be slow, like in
You'd
Walking
they would
Dead.
have to be.
They'd have to be, right?
Yeah,
I
they're
always felt like when I walked
decaying
The
and
Walking-
whatever.
Yeah.
You would almost think.
And then in The Walking Dead, did you have to chop off their head or stab them? How did you kill the zombie?
Brain.
Like the zombie's already dead. So
The,
it's
the only
brain?
way to kill them is their brain. So you got to hit them in the headshot.
So you have to do
or
a headshot.
They can still wiggle.
Man, I never watched the whole thing though. Walking Dead.
It's good time
I'm
to
weird
jump
like
back
that.
in.
I'm weird like that. I'll start a series and then I'll literally get to like the last season. I'm like, I'm done. I did that. You know what I did that with? Lost with the numbers? They're on the.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Freaking hated that ending.
What?
You either
I didn't even watch it.
absolutely think
I
it's
watched like 3 seasons.
You
and
saved
stopped.
yourself.
Okay, because I
You
heard it was
saved
like
yourself.
you get no closure.
I think
Let's talk about it because it's been
the series had so many different writers that it took so many weird turns that didn't, there was no continuity in the
Okay.
storyline. So they would invent something and you'd be like, "Oh, what's this?" And they would just completely bail on that track. And it was weird.
never came back to
in
it?
a bad way. Never. Nope.
So you were left hanging.
I left hanging.
In the end, you have no closure.
I do know the ending, and I hate that too.
Darn.
I really hate that. I wanted to love it. I
Yeah.
watched every season and every episode. Biggest waste of time of my.
Rats.
Yeah.
It was kind of neat concept though. The movie, I mean the show, the TV
Yeah.
show. It was kind of like interesting. Okay, so what else?
I
You
had
got
something else
Let
and
me
it
hear.
fleeted.
Come on, it fleeted.
It
Well, we
fleeted.
could talk about this. Joe Danier is wrapping up a 10-year stint, if you will, with the Youngstown Computer Show and the Bottom Line Business Show
Yeah.
that was on 570 WKBN. 10-year run. Had to be a good run, obviously, 10 years.
Yeah, it was cool because like that show allowed me to develop it as a communicator. Early shows were so rough. Like there was some nervousness and I didn't know how to talk and I stuttered and I really had a hard time in the very beginning. And I cannot believe they let me stay on air as I was eating shit every show, not
Okay.
being good at what I was doing. And then it progressed and you have no choice. But if you do something and practice enough that you become adequate and then you really find your groove. And I was afforded something that I really didn't deserve. And it was kind of cool that way that so many people believed in me in spite of having no evidence that I could actually do something like that.
Anything new in the works?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
can
yeah.
you divulge and let us know?
Soon.
Soon?
It's still very early workings of it.
Radio, TV, video?
Well, it's
what?
probably radio.
Radio?
Radio's a great medium for it. And, that's the thing, like with audiences on the decline, like ask a 20-year-old whether or not they flip on the radio in their car versus podcasts and whatever.
Streaming everything.
Yeah, so your demographic for listening to radio is probably in their 50s, 60s, only because drive around and listen to
Right.
it all day at work or whatever. And we talk about AI and replacing people. The main reason that we're not doing the show anymore is because there are no human producers on the day that we do the show, right? So there's nobody to run the show because it's all automated and coming through
No,
computer.
behind the scenes, you mean? There's
Yeah.
no one behind the scenes.
Yeah,
to
so
hit the
hitting
switchboard.
boards and running
yeah.
phone calls and
Gone.
producing, they're gone. So there's no human beings. The only people on the radio are people who can run their own programming. So they have to run their board and do the show and do the calls and whatnot. So I was, speaking of AI, I was actually replaced by AI as far as I'm concerned.
Wow. Right. I'm still not convinced that you're not AI.
Maybe.
Like, I'm not
You're
even
in a
sure
simulation.
you're here right now.
Yeah. You play video games at all?
I do not.
Okay. So in video games, there's things called NPCs.
NPCs. Let me think. Is the middle word person or people?
Player,
Okay. So
non,
non-player. Hold on. C.
Mm-hmm.
Non-player contestants.
character.
Rats. Okay.
Yes.
NPC. Non-player character.
Yeah.
Someone
So
on the
when
side
you're
over here
going
doing
around in a
something.
world,
Yeah.
you're going to have characters in the game that are other people playing the game. And
I mean,
then
other
you're
people as in humans?
human beings.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So multiplayer game,
Okay,
and that's
yeah.
Tom over
What was
there.
that
and
big
he's
one
a real
called?
person.
Everyone played?
Which one? Call
War
of Duty.
Call of Duty. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, good.
But then they also have NPCs, which are non-player characters that are going around shooting people too, but they are all AI, right?
Okay.
And so sometimes you don't know whether or not you're playing against a NPC or a real player because they're getting so good at emulating what human beings do and how they react and whatever. So in the simulation, like you could very well be an NPC in my simulation. So Brian's not really a human being. We both get entered in the simulation.
Okay.
So your avatar is walking around doing radio shows with me. My avatar is walking around doing radio shows here, right? But you could very well be just a concoction of the computer, and you might not be another human being.
Wow.
How would you know? What's the test to find out if Brian is real? Like we don't
That is
know.
wild. Right. Couldn't they communicate as well too?
For sure.
'Cause,
They're
you
emulating
have
humans.
those heads because they're acting like humans.
They're acting like humans. early NPCs were easy because they had
You could
very
identify
limited
who they were.
programming. They weren't dynamic. They walked the same path. They did the same things. They were pretty easy to spot. But when it's dynamic and the computer's controlling those variables as weird things that humans do, it's really tough to tell sometimes.
Do you game still?
I don't.
No.
Well, a little bit with my kid.
Okay.
And he games. He brings me into a game. I play it to be with him, kind of thing.
Okay. Nice. I saw my cousin today, Deanna, who knows your wife. Yeah. So, hi. She says hi.
All right.
Okay. Listen, what else you got? Anything else?
All right. So the part of the radio show, I felt like I served that term and whatever, but there's still a little feeling of breakup, a little feeling of loss. And I think human beings go through a lot of days where, relationships splinter or, somebody loses their job and you don't see them anymore. And I think everybody deals with that kind of loss a little bit differently. I go gratitude, where I'm just thankful for everything that I did have and I don't get kind of like sucked in. But let's give some advice to people about how to deal and grieve through not having someone around anymore.
Okay. So I say celebrate the small success, and don't dwell that it's not there anymore. Seek it as an opportunity to find something new. Now, that's easy to say, harder to do, right? Because in our minds, we're like, I lost it. My marriage ended. I got fired. Whatever it is, whatever that thing is that you no longer have. I'm not saying you shouldn't think about it for a moment. You could weep, you could mourn, you could laugh, you could cry, but you got to pull yourselves up by the bootstraps at some point and find that next thing. And here's the thing I think people need to remember. That next thing doesn't have to be the same as this thing. See, that's the problem. We think we try to have to match what we had with the new thing that we get. And that's not always the case. And I think if you stop looking for that, has to be the same thing over here as it was over here, you'll be better off. Because if you're looking for the same thing over here that was over here, you'll never find it. Because what was over here can never be replaced. So whether it's that marriage, whether it ended happily or sadly, there are some marriages, my marriage, it ended, but it wasn't like a full-blown war. You know what I mean? It was just like, hey.
Well, that was because you decided not to let it become. Human beings are, once they get hurt a little bit, they get into, they want to justify that it wasn't my fault. And then so they go after the other person.
You can be vindictive in this.
Yeah,
and
like it was their fault and here's all the bad things they did and turn everybody I know against that other person. It's unfair, even like when a marriage breaks up and the one parent turns the other, or the kids or other people against the other parent. That pisses me off.
Right. So to answer your original question, how can we help people get over something or give them advice as to what you once had is no longer there? And I would say celebrate this, weep it, mourn it, be happy, be sad, and then find that new thing. And remember, the new thing does not have to be identical to what you had before.
That's right.
So go out. I always say I can do a speech in 2 words and drop the mic. I'm not kidding. I don't know if my clients are going to pay me the money they pay me to go up and do it. 2-word speech. Did I say 2 words or 2 minutes?
2 words.
2 words.
You think you do in 2 words?
2 words. Drop this mic right here. Ready? Be kind.
Fill in the blanks. Fill in the rest.
Right. In every aspect of your life, be kind. I truly believe if we were more kind to each other, the world would be a better place to live in. Mm-hmm. And I am a firm believer that we can change people. And I know if we talked about this before, and I talk about it in my seminars, you can't change anyone unless they want to. Well, the old cliche, you can lead a horse to water, but
can't make him drink.
However, you can give him salt tablets, right? So you can do things to influence that horse to want to drink. You can't make him drink unless you take his big fat horse head and shove it in the water. But I think as human beings, we can do things to influence others. Now, in the end, yes, it has to be you that has that change within. But I'm a firm believer, just as easily as a bad apple can suck the energy out of a room, a sweet peach can put it right back. So if we can let 1 or 2 bad apples suck the energy out and make us miserable, why can't we be the person who puts it back and makes others happy? So I truly believe.
Here's the conflict in that, and I agree with you. And when you're in a good spot, hearing advice like that, like being kind when you're in an easy to be kind type of environment versus not, or hearing health advice when you're a little bit healthy but totally unhealthy is really hard to hear. When you're behind on your bills and you want to hear about good financial advice. So setting yourself up to be able to believe enough in the principle of kindness, or the principle of financial security, the principle of nutrition and health, when you're too far gone, that's a hard lesson to freaking hear. And I've even watched people who preach kindness. when they're put at a crossroads where they have to be in kind in spite of really not wanting to be kind, that's a conflict inside you watch them go through.
Right. Yeah, it can't be. It has to be genuine. And here's the thing: with regards to being kind, it doesn't have to be an action. It could be as simple as doing nothing at all.
That's right.
Someone drives by and flips you off, and you want to pull up and yell at them and flip them off. Just be better. Keep on driving. To me, that's an act of kindness. You didn't do anything specifically for them. You didn't give them something. You didn't say anything to them. You just decided to do nothing. So sometimes doing nothing can be being kind. Doesn't have to be
I got a story for
something
you
that you do.
So my this is a story my wife experienced. Okay, so she's in traffic and some douche like cuts her off and she is fuming and she doesn't get mad. So
Okay.
in order to push her there.
Right.
Like, so she pulls up alongside this dude, and she was probably close to the giving the bird.
Okay, right.
And the dude looks at her and goes, "Peace." And she said the minute everything went down, and I was no longer pissed off because all it took was that gesture, the acknowledgement and peace, and she was no longer.
That's a
no
nice.
longer angry.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
So even though he did wrong and cut her off,
Yep. Sorry.
sorry. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
All right.
All right. So you can change people, but in the end, it comes from within. But you can influence. I will argue that to the day I die.
I did substitute the middle finger. I don't give middle fingers anymore.
What do you do now?
I do thumbs down.
Ooh, bad. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, you
Thumbs
cut me
down.
off, you're getting a thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
Knowing
That's
that
kind of cool.
I don't appreciate that, but
Let's
I'm not going to
start
get
that
vulgar
trend.
at you.
I kind of like
Thumbs
that.
down.
Yeah, I'm not going to get. Yeah, just not good. Not good.